There are rising whispers and speculation inside Pakistan of a looming military coup. Around the grim anniversary of the 1977 coup of Zia-ul-Haq that resound even today, the focus is intensely on the present Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir, with local media reporting that he may be positioning himself to replace President Asif Ali Zardari.
The 5th of July 1977, then Army Chief General Zia-ul-Haq's infamous military coup marked a fundamental shift in Pakistan's political landscape, one that it has not been able to fully recover from even 47 years on. Whispers of echoes of developments then have arisen again. Media reports inside Pakistan claim Army Chief Asim Munir is maneuvering behind the scenes to pull off something similar again. Analysts suggest that Munir's recent elevation to Field Marshal is not merely ceremonial, but could be a prelude to something far bigger. There are whispers of backdoor power deals and shifting political allegiances, intensifying the strain on Pakistan's democratic network.
Well, I think that you could take rumours of a coup in Pakistan both ways, as an early warning sign of something to come, or just whispers underneath. But the fact is that the military is becoming more and more embedded in the politics, the civilian politics and institutional activities in Pakistan. So whether or not there is a coup that brings even more power into the hands of General Munir.
Increasingly visible political divides further escalate these tensions. Was President Zardari's son Bilawal Bhutto's public criticism of General Asif Munir at an international media interview a tipping point of sorts? Bilawal even went a significant step further, suggesting Pakistan should consider handing over terrorists Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar to India, an unprecedented statement that quickly triggered widespread backlash. As Pakistan wrestles with internal power struggles, the battle between the Sharifs and Imran Khan has turned into a proxy war for control, waged not just in parliament, but in courts, media and on the streets. The military watches but refuses to fully step back. When Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar steps in deliberately to say President Zardari is safe from a coup, one wonders if there's more churning than meets the eye.
No smoke without fire, I guess. But, you know, the Pakistani political establishment is very defensive, and rightly so. We should remember the election of 2024, which was rife with allegations of corruption and vote rigging, and also the attempt to undermine the position in Pakistani politics of the PTI, the party of Imran Khan, who is now, due to arguably his disagreements earlier in his career while he was still Prime Minister, with General Munir, incarcerated. He is in prison. These are not the actions of a government, of a political party that feels confident in its position.
Fact is, anti-coup sentiments are already beginning to bubble up. However, as in Pakistan's turbulent past, the ultimate decisions and indeed the real power continue to lie with the army. Rawalpindi calls the shots.
Munir has embedded himself in the economic policies of the country, but military rule anywhere is something that I think that we have to be aware of and beware of.
A significant shift in global diplomacy unfolded this week as Russia formally recognized the Taliban government in Afghanistan. This move is a first for a major world power since the Taliban seized control in 2021, and it has big implications for the geopolitical landscape of South Asia. Inside South Asia explores what this recognition means, including the ever-present China factor.
For nearly 4 years since it stormed back to power, the Taliban's Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan has largely remained a pariah. That changed this week. On the 3rd of July, Russia officially accepted the credentials of Afghanistan's new ambassador to Moscow. It comes 3 months after Russia removed the Taliban from its list of banned terrorist organizations, and it marks a dramatic about-turn from decades of hostility.
Once again, I thank the esteemed leadership of the Russian Federation for taking this initiative, which will serve as an example for others and will help remove all barriers in the relations between Russia and Afghanistan.
From the immediate viewpoint of Afghanistan's people, the implications are huge. The biggest of them being Afghanistan breaking out of isolation and making an entry into the mainstream. Citizens call it a breath of fresh air after years of seeming gloom and doom.
Last night, when we heard on the news that the Soviets Russia have recognized Afghanistan officially, we were very happy that now trade and economy will bloom, and the challenges that were against the Islamic Emirate, they are gradually being removed.
When others recognize us, the way Russia has, trade will improve, life will get better, and people will be able to travel from one place to another freely. Relations between countries will strengthen. Nothing good comes from war. War only brings destruction.
From Moscow's point of view, there are obviously twin motives at work: counter-terrorism and economic gain. Both Russia and the Taliban view ISIS Khorasan as a shared enemy. Following the March 2024 Moscow concert hall attack claimed by ISIS-K, President Putin even called the Taliban allies in the fight against terrorism. Economically, Russia aims to become a major supplier of oil, gas and wheat, and sees Afghanistan as a gateway to South Asian markets. This recognition is part of Russia's broader strategy to expand its influence in Central and South Asia. On the broader implications for South Asia and international norms, Russia's recognition potentially encourages other nations to follow suit. Regional reactions vary. Pakistan remains cautious, citing cross-border militancy. India has evolved its approach, reopening its embassy and engaging in high-level talks. The United States maintains non-recognition and sanctions. The UN warns this sets a dangerous precedent. Then there's the all-important China factor. Beijing's primary concern is security, preventing anti-Chinese militancy from spilling into Xinjiang province. That has a border with Afghanistan. That's besides economic and BRI interests.
The Chinese side supports the international community in strengthening engagement and communication with Afghanistan's interim government, encouraging it to actively respond to the concerns of the international community and jointly help Afghanistan achieve reconstruction and development. We support Afghanistan in combating violent terrorist forces, making positive contributions to the peace, stability, and prosperity of the region.
Russia, recognizing the Taliban directly, challenges the international consensus of withholding recognition as a leverage for human rights improvements. Balancing engagement with the imperative to uphold fundamental human rights, particularly vis-à-vis women's freedoms, will be a continuing challenge. But the fact remains, it's a step forward, a step out of darkness in Afghanistan that had become overwhelming. Can it lead to better things?
Up next, let's get you what else is making news across the Indian subcontinent in our Inside South Asia wrap.
On the 8th of July, heavy floods triggered by torrential rains tore down a Himalayan mountain valley between China and Nepal. At least 9 people have been killed and over a dozen are reportedly missing. The wall of water also swept away the Nepal-China Friendship Bridge, linking the two countries over the Potokoshi River, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority of Nepal. The missing include 14 Nepali citizens and 6 Chinese workers. 8 electric cars were also washed away, and a small hydroelectric plant was also damaged in the flood. Hundreds of electric vehicles imported from China had been parked at the border point. The missing Chinese nationals were working at the inland container depot, being constructed with Chinese assistance about 80 kilometers north of the capital Kathmandu. Nepal's Prime Minister, KP Oli, along with top ministers and officials, flew to the area to assess the situation. Deadly floods and landslides are common across South Asia during the monsoon season from June to September, but experts say climate change is making them worse.
An oil tanker stranded close to the edge of the collapsed span of a bridge. These are the visuals from the India's western state of Gujarat. At least 15 people were killed after a part of the structure suddenly gave way, causing 5 vehicles to fall into the Mahisagar River in Gujarat's Vadodara district. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the accident was deeply saddening and offered condolences to those who died. Constructed in 1985, the 900-meter-long Gambhira Bridge connected 2 districts of Vadodara and Anand.
Bangladeshi ready-made garment factory owners have voiced alarm after U.S. President Donald Trump sent a letter to the South Asian country's chief advisor, Muhammad Yunus, announcing a 35% increase in export tariffs on any export goods starting in August. Bangladesh is the world's second-largest exporter of ready-made garments, clothing after China. It faces stiff competition from India, Pakistan, and Vietnam to compete in its nearly $40 billion global apparel market, nearly 1/4 of which comes from the U.S. alone. Several factory owners producing for U.S. brands said they were expediting shipments to complete deliveries by the end of July to avoid the looming tariff. Some warned the hike could lead to factory closures and mass layoffs. In his letter, Trump said the trade imbalance between the two countries must be addressed to ensure mutual benefit, but left open the possibility of renegotiating the tariff.
The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for 2 Taliban leaders in Afghanistan, including Supreme Spiritual Leader Heptullah Akhundzada, accusing them of the persecution of women and girls. The ICC said there are reasonable grounds to believe that Akhundzada and Abdul Hakim Haqqani, Chief Justice of the Taliban, have committed the crime against humanity of persecution on gender grounds against girls, women and other persons non-conforming with the Taliban's policy on gender, gender identity or expression. Critics say the Taliban's path towards wider international recognition is blocked until it changes course on women's rights. Among various diktats, the Taliban has closed high schools and universities to girls and women and placed restrictions on their movement without a male guardian. It says it respects women's rights in line with its strict interpretation of Islamic law.
Lions kept illegally as pets have been confiscated in Pakistan's Punjab region. Authorities say that they launched a crackdown after one escaped from a house and attacked a woman and 2 children. The woman suffered scratches and bruises, and the 2 children, aged 5 and 7, were hospitalized after the attack last week. The lion, which was kept without a license in a house in Lahore, was confiscated and sent to a local safari park. The owner was later arrested. Keeping exotic animals as pets has been fueled by social media, with owners often showing off their animals online as status symbols. According to the new regulations for keeping big cats, no individual is allowed to keep a lion without a license, without adhering to the required cage size, and without following other standard operating procedures. The officials have raided 38 lion and tiger breeding farms and arrested 8 people for violating the rules. There are 584 lions and tigers in homes and breeding farms in the Punjab region of Pakistan.
Bangladesh is grappling with a surge of cases of dengue, now a routine phenomenon at this time of the year. A feature this year has been a shift in the worst hit pockets from capital Dhaka to districts outside the city. Experts are sounding the alarm, urging immediate and comprehensive action to prevent an even more severe public health crisis in the country.
In the dengue ward of the district hospital in Barguna, it's a distressing state of affairs. The number of patients outnumbers the beds available almost threefold, and there's no end to the rush of more patients coming in. Barguna in Barishal division has emerged as a major hotspot, logging the highest number of cases in any single district in Bangladesh. Inadequate mosquito control measures, low public awareness, and the presence of multiple dengue serotypes means the outbreak is spreading rapidly outside Dhaka. The numbers overall are stark. 288 people hospitalized with dengue in Barguna on Monday marked the highest daily tally recorded so far this year. The total cases for 2025 have now crossed 10,000, with 42 deaths reported so far this year as of July 1st, June alone saw 19 dengue deaths and nearly 6,000 new cases reported, with over 75% of the new cases from outside the capital Dhaka. Even more worrying, as of May 25, 2025, Bangladesh recorded nearly 4,000 cases, significantly higher than the nearly 3,000 cases by the same date in 2024. Indications enough that this could be just the beginning of horrors to come in weeks ahead, breaking last year's records. The June to September monsoon is traditionally the season for dengue fever in Bangladesh, a country highly prone to mosquito-borne diseases. Authorities have formed teams now working in areas across the country to educate on surveillance and eliminating mosquito breeding sites. Experts say a bigger reach into interior areas is needed. There's also a call to declare dengue a reportable disease to improve data collection and response. The coming weeks, especially during the monsoons, will be crucial in determining if these efforts can contain the surge and prevent a larger outbreak across Bangladesh.
Mount Everest, the world's highest peak and one of the most remote locations on Earth, is also rather ignominiously referred to as the world's highest garbage dump. Estimates say that about 50 tons of trash remains at various camps on the mountain. Our next reporter spotlights the role being played by drones in tackling the Everest's trash crisis.
Ever since Mount Everest was first scaled by New Zealander Sir Edmund Hillary and Nepalese Indian Sherpa Tenzing Norgay in 1953, over 7,000 people as of 2024 have climbed the 8,850-meter high Mount Everest, many of them several times. But decades of climbing and lax regulations have resulted in the accumulation of tons of garbage on the mountain. The problem persists despite cleanup efforts, such as the one undertaken by the Nepalese army last year, in which 11 tons of trash were removed. Camps continue to be strewn with torn tents, food wrappers, empty oxygen bottles, and even human waste left behind by climbers. This modern-day scourge of garbage is now being tackled by a modern-age technology, the unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. An ambitious Nepalese startup, Airlift Technology, is addressing this crisis by deploying drones to deliver supplies and remove the waste from Everest. The UAV is capable of carrying up to 15 kilograms of cargo, transporting critical supplies like oxygen bottles, ladders, and ropes from Everest Base Camp to Camp 1 in just 3 minutes during ideal weather conditions. These drones are proving to be a lifeline for Sherpa guides who earlier used to undertake 6 to 7 hours long perilous journeys across the treacherous Khumbu icefall.
So right now I'm at Everest Base Camp, and right now we are at the point on the peak middle of base camp. So this section over here you can see, this is called Khumbu icefall, which is one of the world's most dangerous sections to climb to summit Mount Everest. And it's like almost 50, 100, 200 beneath down clavers where most of the people falls down. So this time they go empty-handed. So from drone, we supply those ladders, ropes, and all the needed equipments under the coordinates where they are. We'll be supplying oxygen cylinder and medicine if needed to the expedition people who are in Camp 1. Because the interesting thing is, so from base camp to Camp 1, it takes 7 to 9 hours for climbers to reach. And our drone can reach over there within 3 minutes.
In addition to transporting the crucial mountaineering equipment, these drones are now being used to transport trash back down the mountain. Following successful trials last year, Nepal's startup company estimates to have removed over 1,000 kilograms worth of garbage in a short span of 3 months, between March and May this year. Nepalese mountaineer Nima Rinji Sherpa, recognized by Guinness World Records as the youngest climber to summit all 14 of the world's highest peaks, hopes that this innovative use of technology can be a game changer in the Everest expeditions.
Of course, it's been almost 75 years since the first expedition, and we cannot blame anyone of throwing the garbage. But yes, as the years has passed, the trash has accumulated on the mountain, and I think right now is the perfect time that we all come together and do something about it. Yeah. I think this is very interesting and very good in a way, because it is humanly impossible to bring all the trash down by carrying through the Khumbu Icefall, through the South Col. So I think yes, right now we're using these drones by LU technology, which is very innovative in a way that it also saves people's life, and it makes everyone easier to bring down the trash. So yeah, it's a very good initiative, and we're all looking forward to it.
That's all we have for you in our show today. But before we go, some highlights of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 5-nation 8-day tour. From attending the BRICS summit to receiving top civilian honours, the Indian Prime Minister once again marked India's presence on the global stage. Take a look. I'm Samiksha Srivastava, and I will see you next week.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowon.com.
As Hollywood reels from a crisis, we take a look at what's troubling the film crew. Know all about the actors in the running to play James Bond.
Hi everybody, namaskar.
And meet Indian singer Usha Uthup as she talks about her musical journey. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on We Honor These Times.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
This week on West Asia Post.
Israel wants to turn Gaza into a human cage. A city in ruins fenced in from all sides. A military mishap or a mastermind move? How Iran tricked Israeli missiles into hitting its own targets. And inside Iran's mass deportation drive, 500,000 Afghans forced out. Tehran calls them a security threat and accusations of espionage for Israel.
Watch the West Asia Post with me, Radi Francis, every Friday at these times, only on WION The World is One.